going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about a really interesting update for MW3 Zombies, the addition of PvP, plus even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and also as a big reminder, we got plenty of brand new coverage that's going up over on detonated.com for those out there that may prefer additional coverage for every game mode, and there's of course plenty of tweets every single hour on Detonated's Twitter. As a reminder, as of this week, on January 31st, we should be getting our official blog post and roadmap reveal for Season 2. That season does end up going live on February the 7th, a week after that, so if they follow the traditional schedule of when they market a brand new season, an exact week before launch, then we should be getting that as of maybe this Wednesday or Thursday by the latest. But also be sure to check out my recent episode of the Bombshell podcast. We had an amazing guest, J-God, that joined us, in which talked all about the build up to Season 2 and kind of all the repercussions following the mid-season updates and a lot of the recent unfortunate layoffs. Now, as I mentioned in a Zombies video last week, there's an Infinity Ward designer known as Cloak and Kill over on Twitter, in which they went ahead and teased just before the announcement of the layoffs that they are absolutely cooking for MW Zombies Season 2. And following the announcement of the layoffs, this person is apparently safe, but a lot of folks they know did get laid off. So as we mentioned on the podcast, our hearts go out first off to the men and women that work in the industry that now have to find new jobs. But we had an amazing discussion talking about how this could impact content going forward for MW3, the next Black Ops. So I'm curious if what they were cooking for MW Zombies Season 2 is going to remain intact or if anything has been affected. Now, if you guys are like, wait, what's going on with Infinity Ward working on zombies? Well, like I mentioned just a few days ago, it looks like Treyarch is going all hands on deck for Black Ops 2024. According to leaker Alex over on Twitter, Infinity Ward and Raven are now working on MW3 Zombies. So what I'm hopeful about is that Treyarch left an agenda or an outline to other studios of what to do lore-wise and gameplay-wise for the next 5+ seasons, so that they don't necessarily have to work on the content, but they've left behind what other studios do need to do while they go all hands on deck for their next premium title, which comes out about a year from now. And if you guys don't agree with Treyarch kind of stepping away this soon, well, the first thing I'll say is because of layoffs, this probably makes sense now. They want to make sure Black Ops gets out the door correctly, which I know we all want. We want the best return to round-based possible. And on top of that, if other studios like Infinity Ward or Raven don't have that much else to do, I mean, Infinity Ward's next game isn't for what, many years, and Raven just works on Warzone, but they've expanded. So if all that is the case, then they should be okay developing a bunch of zombies content for Treyarch that Treyarch decided upon, especially if the teams within Infinity Ward working on that stuff may have previously worked on Raids or DMZ, which are kind of similar in spirit to the kind of quest that we have in MWZ. But as a quick update for MW Zombies fans, a random Warlord does now spawn in within every match of MWZ. So with the launch of Reloaded, they added in Dokkaebi as a Warlord on Urzikstan, but that was the only Warlord you can go ahead and face. They actually removed Legacy, but they've since added Legacy back in with the RNG of getting either Legacy or Dokkaebi in every match that you play. So I'm assuming whenever they add in more Warlords in a future update, they'll give you about a week of exclusivity where you're only seeing that new Warlord in every match you spawn into, but then after that, they'll end up rotating the other ones back in so that you have a fair chance of spotting either one of them. I'd rather go ahead and see all of them present in a single match at once in the case that you guys out there need to do the act mission or just want to experience the Warlord for yourself, but another team might have already killed that one, so there should be an option to go at least kill another one in one match of Urzikstan, but maybe they'll add that at some point in the future. Now, Reality UK over on Twitter, a known data miner in the Call of Duty scene, did go ahead and claim that PvP is indeed coming to Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. But before you guys out there go ahead and panic, keep in mind that he's referring to a dedicated playlist for PvP. They're not going to overhaul the main experience, MWZ, Operation Deadbolt. They're not going to just add PvP to the zombies we already have. They're apparently going to have a different playlist for this PvP experience. Now, it's funny because a good month or so ago, there was a glitch people had reported on in-game where PvP was active throughout their match, and it just seemed like the PvP that we had in DMZ last year that kind of bled over into Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. It didn't seem like it was meant to be in the game, but it existed and worked to the point where you're able to down another player. The vehicle the enemy player was driving was red on the person's tac map, meaning that, yeah, they were recognized as an enemy player, an enemy combatant in their lobby. They were able to down them with their weapon, but had the ability to revive them. They couldn't fully wipe the player, they couldn't loot their bag, but PvP was present in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Now, something I brought up on the podcast in regards to this topic, though, is that if PvP does come to MW Zombies in some way, shape, or form, then I think it could be a cool exclusive mode for the sake of maybe unlocking certain rewards or schematics just by playing that playlist, right? I mean, look at the Haunting event from Modern Warfare 2 Season 6. That's a perfect example of going in, whether it was in Warzone or DMZ, going in to face certain bosses with the threat of other real players in the environment that could ruin your progress against that boss, that could ruin your ability to get the reward. So it was definitely a high risk, high reward type of experience that I preferred to go into with the real squad. But for those out there that only played solo and were matchmaking with randoms, then that was a really frustrating experience for a lot of people. I mean, just remember trying to go ahead and set up the altar to go into the butcher boss fight, and there was a rooftop people could camp on and just snipe you as you're progressing. I mean, there was trolls everywhere, and that's the way PvPvE typically works, especially for something like the Haunting. So I can't imagine how that would look for MW Zombies. Now, another thing I want to mention is the possibility of seeing a Koshai complex situation where we get a area added to Urzikstan or a new map entirely where there's only specific points of interest on that map that you can actually kill other players at. Koshai complex, for example, obviously you could experience PvP anywhere, but only after a certain point. After you exit the area you spawn in and you enter the middle of Koshai, once all the areas of the map are open, then you can go in and kill other players. But before you enter that middle area, before you exit the area you spawn in, you actually won't see other real players. Maybe they'll have it restricted like that so that it's a little more fair. People could go ahead and be a bit more prepared to go against other real people. Or again, they have a certain area on Urzikstan they add, or maybe another map entirely that has PvP only that you could avoid if you so please. Now that has me thinking, right, with the introduction of Fortune's Keep and Rebirth in Warzone 2024, maybe we'll get zombie support day one for both of those maps. I mean, considering the recent layoffs, I'm a bit doubtful that things will work exactly as they were originally planned, but it would be cool, like we saw last year when we got Ashika and Vandal, if we got support day one for the third mode in the game. We had DMZ support day one for Ashika and Vandal last year. It would be cool to see zombie support straight away for these fan favorite resurgence maps. So if there is zombie support right out the gate, I'm obviously hoping that it's not just an Urzikstan copy paste in the sense that you just get a couple of new act missions, but then all the same activities, objectives, side Easter eggs, bosses, just on a new environment. Hopefully it feels fresh to where there's new things or more things to do. So if you add PvP into that mix, that would certainly spice things up, and I'm sure you guys could probably agree. For those that don't want to see PvP ever in Modern Warfare Zombies, I get where you're coming from, but hey, more content is more content. You don't have to go out and play it, and I would understand the complaints a lot more if they were maybe preparing to overhaul Modern Warfare Zombies and add PvP into the current Urzikstan Operation Deadbolt. But with the introduction of PvP would mean a number of different changes would have to happen for this playlist. They'd have to add the ability to loot other people's bodies, you know, their backpacks. They'd have to maybe change how perks and field upgrades work. How would those affect other real players that you're going up against? What about assimilation? Would that be disabled in PvP so that you can't squad up with anybody at all? Even DMZ had assimilation in the PvPvE experience, but would zombies have that? Maybe not. I mean, think about even like what Jay God was saying on the podcast, weapon balancing, right? Not just for wonder weapons that you can use against real people, but the regular weapons that we have in zombies aren't scaled the same way that they are in multiplayer Warzone, so that would be a separate set of weapon balancing that a studio would have to worry about. And also think about something silly like power-ups, right? You get an insta-kill, would that mean you not only insta-kill zombies, but could you also use power-ups to your advantage against real players? That's a big question mark. Now, I'm thinking with a separate playlist for PvPvE, Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, this could be a cool opportunity to add in something that I know we had in DMZ, but could be done maybe in an even cooler way within MWZ, and that's the idea that you can go up against certain bosses or warlords that drop something like a weapon case or a rare schematic, and then you have that rush of trying to get to an exfil before another squad goes ahead and challenges you. I mean, we had that in DMZ, so if you guys are like, wait, why not just add DMZ back if they're adding all these DMZ features? Well, there's so many things that I think were done very well in DMZ, and as the studio confirmed, Infinity Ward a couple of months ago, the spirit of DMZ will still live on, right? Aspects of DMZ will be present in other extraction or open world experiences like Warzone, like Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. So that's why DMZ features are going to start rolling out into other modes over the next couple of years. They'll still be implemented in maybe a bit of a different way, but you'll still get that, again, high risk, high reward type of gameplay that I think DMZ was known for, at least for the first couple of seasons. Now, I would think it's pretty cool if we have this separate type of progression with newer or different act missions when you also go into this playlist, but I would also say with the possibility or with the risk that you can go into a match of this PvPvE and essentially lose your entire inventory, this is where we need a bigger stash size, right? We need a much bigger stash size. So if you decide to spawn in with the decked out operator, you spawn in with wonder weapons and perks and legendary ether tools and crystals, if you go ahead and lose all that against another real person, hopefully you have a lot more on deck. But it could be cool if maybe there's some amazing regain opportunities in this PvPvE type of playlist, or if you do lose everything while playing regular Extraction Operation Deadbolt, or you lose everything going up against real people, there still is a cool regain opportunity when playing this dedicated playlist to help you get everything back that you might have lost before. But the last thing I'll mention is that, as a reminder, take all rumors with a grain of salt, right? This PvPvE experience may have been planned for regular Operation Deadbolt, got canceled, may have been planned for a separate playlist, but it's going to get delayed indefinitely because of the layoffs, or maybe this is something that's going to get implemented when we get new maps at some point in 2024. I mean, if we do for Modern Warfare Zombies. But what if, and this is a big what if, whatever this experience isn't exactly the PvPvE we think it could be, like DMZ? What if it's something like Grief, where maybe you're in this LTM of sorts where it's your team versus another, but you're not killing each other necessarily, you're just kind of racing to complete a goal before the other team does, making this a newer version of Grief, but with maybe the option to shoot other players during a certain point of that mode. I mean, looking at Grief from the original Black Ops 2, you couldn't really do anything when shooting other players, but you could knife them to kind of stun them in their place. Maybe something like that could be incorporated as a fun LTM for MWZ that's, again, separate from Operation Deadbolt, but still incorporates the idea that you are against another team for a certain mission, and you guys can mess with each other, but maybe it won't be as crazy as DMZ, where you can knock them down fully, take their entire inventory, exfil, and then that person's just left with nothing. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on this interesting update in regards to Modern Warfare 3 Zombies? Do you think PvPvE is coming to this experience at some point in 2024? Should it be more like Grief, or should it be something more along the lines of what we saw in DMZ last year? Leave all your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.